All right, so I just made like a 20-minute video talking about this, and yeah, I don't want to do a 20-minute. I'm like, you know what, it gets a bit too opinionated a little bit, and I just want to talk about this. Bungie makes Marathon less vicious as players keep leaving. Update adds free solo self revives, a way to revive enemy players, and a stay together option. I think that's fine. I have no ill will toward the people that play Marathon. I do have ill will toward Marathon itself. I hope that game fails. I hope Marathon fails. I'm not a fan of it. I hate Bungie. All right, Bungie's basically treated their customers like dog shit. As somebody who's played Destiny 2 as a fan of Destiny 2, the Destiny 2 community hates Bungie. They're pieces of shit. Basically, to sum it up, I have paid for DLC that I no longer have access to in Destiny 2. They have vaulted DLC and like that you've paid for. It's ridiculous. But yeah, basically, they're trying to make it more Arc Raiders like, make it more friendly in a way, which I could go into my opinions about that, and I did in the other recording, but I'm like, you know what? Maybe we redo this, make it a bit shorter, not talk about that. As I said, my opinion on this is I'm a certified hater of Marathon. I don't hate the art style. I know a lot of people do. That's very 50-50 hit or miss on that. I actually don't mind the art style of any game. I've never been bothered by art styles of games. I just don't really look at art styles too much. I don't care enough. But something that I do want to talk about is the way to revive enemy runners, because this basically kind of backtracks what they wanted this game to initially be. It felt like initially, from what I remember, is this game was meant to be more PvP focused, where it's like, hey, instead of Arc Raiders, we're like, you're really being super friendly with the other players, and most of the people never really fought any other actual players. This was like, hey, you're gonna get in there and you're gonna fight other players. It's gonna be more Tarkov like, where you're gonna get into battles and there's gonna engage in more gunplay and stuff. And I thought that would be cool, and I was more interested in that. They decided to like just 180 on that and be like, oh, you know what, I just revived them. And basically what this tool does, down here I was reading, and it basically makes it so that they were like, oh, friendly, Bungie now seems to be leaning a bit more into a friendly play style, that comes to define much of Arc Raiders. So, just trying to be the same as Arc Raiders at this point. And again, I'm not a fan of that. Like, be your own game. Something that I'm going to get a little bit opinionated here, but something that really bothered me about this game is I didn't know Marathon existed before this. I thought Marathon was like a new IP, but Marathon is a series that already existed. I'll actually look it up here. So it was a single player game, and I show it here, and it's this. I guess whatever. The original Marathon series was like basically a Doom-like, OG Doom, and it was like story-driven single player, PvE, and I was like, oh damn, like they had an IP, they had a property here which they could have easily made a single player or co-op single player shooter, story-driven shooter, remade, a very old, I think 90s type shooter, and instead they said, let's copy the extraction shooter craze and copy what Arc Raiders is doing. Cool. Whatever, I get it. You want to jump on whatever's popular, and, not that we don't need more extraction shooters. I feel like we do need more decent ones, but, I just think that's a missed target. Also, as a Destiny 2 fan, back when this was first being speculated and talked about, a lot of the Destiny community, at least from what I remember, a lot of people were talking about how this was originally meant to be, at least from what I remember, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it was never meant to be this way. It was originally meant to be like a Crucible like type game. And if you don't know what Crucible is, it's the PvP mode of Destiny 2, and basically Crucible and Destiny 2 was a little unbalanced here and there due to the aspects of the game, but this was originally supposed to be like a standalone Crucible where it's just the PvP aspect, because like Crucible is fun, the PvP in Destiny 2 is genuinely fun, and like it was really just supposed to be that, like it's standalone PvP, very balanced and whatnot, basically, I don't want to say similar to COD, but in its own way, and like it would have been fun. I would have been excited for that and interested in that. We need more arena type, shooters like that, TDM, domination, like not extremely large battles, just like smaller arenas, and like it would have been fun. That would have been enjoyable, because the PvP in Destiny 2 is genuinely enjoyable. Destiny's PvP is honestly fun, and instead they went and made an extraction shooter. Whatever, they could do what they want, but as a Destiny fan, that was a hard hit. It's like, come on, man. Like, it would have been more fun to have, a cross-platform, just, like solid PvP, TDM, domination, these modes, a slightly, more competitive shooter, but I guess fuck that, go where the money is at, I guess. But yeah, I want to talk about this because it's just, links to this article in the description, obviously Games Radar article. And the player count has dropped off significantly. Take a look at it here. They're peaking at about 26, 25k players, which isn't too bad. They at the low end it's 7k, 6k. And the player numbers aren't too bad. You got to realize this is also a cross-platform game. This game is on console too, so you have to realize you have to take into Xbox and PlayStation into account. So say it's like usually I take the Steam numbers and add them to console just because we don't know the console numbers. They don't publicize that. So say it's 25,000 players on PlayStation, 25k on Xbox, that's 50k right there. And then you add another, 25k for Steam. And it's like, okay, it's like closer, like closer to 100k, not really, 70 some k, right? If I'm, 5, 6, 7, 70 some k, 70 plus k. Closer to 80k maybe, which isn't too bad. That's very solid player numbers, to be honest. But as you can see, the drop off here is, fairly noticeable. As you can tell, it's a pretty steep drop off, which obviously happens over time. But this is, this is just a solid like boop boop. Like people are not liking this. And again, it's funny, and I talked about this in a Steam article. The Steam reviews are really well positive. We could actually go to the store page here and look at the Steam, and as you can see, the reviews, they've dropped from 88 to like 82%, which 80% Steam reviews, 80% positive is actually still really good. But I said this in a Steam forum discussion, and I want to say it again. I'm almost like 99% certain that the reviews are like this because the people that don't like the game just straight up didn't buy it. They probably played the beta and were like, I'm not buying this, or they just looked at the game and were like, I'm not buying this. So I feel like this is one of those rarer instances where the Steam reviews are extremely skewed because the only people that bought this game are the people that are really fanboying over it and are like really, really, super into it and like, oh, this game is amazing. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not hating on you. If you enjoy the game, if you enjoy it, all the power to you. I'm glad you enjoy it. It looks fun. It's good. Like there are enjoyable aspects of the game, but that's just what I want to put out there is I feel like a lot more people dislike this game than you're being led on to, I feel like, because I've seen a lot of people, especially with the reviews, usually, when you have a highly reviewed game, a lot of people will stick up for it and stuff. And I was making posts on other social media platforms and stuff, and I was like, man, like, I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of what they're doing, like games sucks. And like a lot of the comments are like, this game sucks. Like a lot of people are just straight up hating on the game. Which is rare, like all of the comments, not like one person trying to defend the game or stick up for it or say they like it or anything like that. So it really feels like that this is, review wise, I feel like it's a little bit skewed. It's really hard to look at this and be like, oh, and even so, you'd expect a game where literally all of the people buying it, majority of the people buying it are people that are genuinely like buying it because they want to play it and like it. 82% is still kind of low. Like that's like 20% of people that bought this game that still left negative reviews on it. But as you can see, it's just a lot of positive reviews, which is good. Sandbox for unemployed sweats, trash randoms that should be banned from using technology, whatever. This guy's got 210 hours. Yikes, bro. It's definitely the most excellent game I wouldn't recommend I have yet encountered. Look for any FPS veteran out there. Truly remarkable. It is a truly remarkable game. Each element is cleverly thought out, and the game rewards your diligence and effort only to the degree that you already already to the degree that you already came in with great FPS fundamentals and a general knowledge of battle royales and extraction shooters occurring in the past decade. I think if you are lacking in one or both of those skill sets, you'll find Marathon to eventually be a harrowing experience. You'll gain levels, you'll make progress, but more and more you'll slowly become matched with good to great players. The maps are small enough and your activity is loud enough that you will eventually get into difficult fights. Then it will be up to you to decide whether spending the minutes loading in only to die over and over again is worth it. You could just be going over to Witchfire or Destiny or Helldivers or Arc Raiders in order to have a higher density of great shooting experiences. In those games, you get to gauge your level of risk far more, and I suspect that eventually players drop off for this reason. They can't compete. That is a fucking solid review. That is very, very, like, I feel like that hits it on the nose pretty well. That puts a, I don't think that's the only reason why this game is like that. There's way more, that you could go into with the game and stuff and why it wouldn't work, but that's a really, really well put together paragraph. I want to read this more. That's actually really well made. And now, if this was intentional by Bungie for this game to be a small laboratory of FPS of pain, more power to them. It's a competitive game, and it's clear they believe in their particular vision. But if they want to introduce this game to a broader audience, careful attention will be needed. Careful attention will need to be paid to finding ways for players to improve despite this continuous movement towards more difficult players. I wouldn't care how they do it. PvE dedicated profile, timed PvE events, PvP arenas, and social modes. Basically, PvP arenas mean like exactly what people wanted this game to originally be from the Destiny side of it is Crucible, PvP, TDM, just straight PvP, you know, like respawning, kill, no extraction, just create a loadout, go in there, shoot people, die, like that shit's fun. I just like doing that, you know. Lots of players have brainstormed possibilities. Players in the game know Bungie has attempted these things with free loadouts, the incredible positive feedback and contracts and factions, but it does not appear to be enough at the time. Also PvE events, like I would genuinely enjoy this game if it was just like PvE like exclusive modes. I'm exactly the same with Arc Raiders. I've told my friend I bought Arc Raiders to play it with him and he hasn't really played it a lot. He feels like he beat the game, and personally I'm not a fan of like the non-PvP element of it where people are super friendly, because I feel bad killing somebody who's really friendly. I feel bad just going up and like that's my problem with Arc Raiders is like if you're somebody who likes the PvP, like if I'm playing a PvP game and I'm able to kill other players, I want to kill the other players, bro. But then you have the problem of like Arc Raiders where everybody doesn't expect that. So if I go into a game and kill somebody, they're just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, fuck you. And I kind of feel bad, you know, just killing somebody who's not even shooting back or not even going to kill me. They're just running by me and like expecting nothing. It's like way too friendly in that instance. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at that point, I almost would rather have specific modes where it's like there's no PvP, but you can play with other players. Like I would almost rather a mode where I can get on, and that's a little bit opinionated, but I can get on and it's a PvE exclusive, but you can play with other players in the lobby, meaning that you can get on and there are real players, but you literally can't, like if you were to shoot them, it does no damage. It's just like you can't even damage other players, but you can do PvE elements and it's meant to get on and be like an open world where you could join in with other players, kind of like Destiny, honestly, like the open world of Destiny. And I genuinely am okay with that. Like I like the PvE elements of extraction shooters, personally. Like I don't like the PvP elements. Like I don't want to say I don't like the PvP, but in extraction shooters, I tend to rage really easily. And extraction shooters are really, really easy to rage at, or specifically just feel like you don't want to play anymore because you go into a raid with a lot of loot and stuff and then you die, especially if it's to a cheater. It's just like, fuck, like it's not like it sucks in battle royales, it sucks in Call of Duty, it sucks in other games, but in an extraction shooter, you really feel it because you're losing your gear permanently. Like your gear is just gone. And personally, like even Tarkov, I'm a fan of Tarkov. I like the PvP, but when I've played a lot of Tarkov, it's been single player Tarkov mod or the offline mode of Tarkov, the PvE, and I enjoy it way more. That's personal though, that's more personal. Like obviously I know the PvP and that's really fun and people like PvP, but like I wish these games would have like a bit of a PvE mode for people to focus on. Like Arc Raiders, I would love to play that game just for the PvE alone. But you know, that's just me, honestly. But yeah, you know, but the fiction, the narrative of Marathon, the gunplay and the premise are way too good to leave to a handful of the best FPS players on the bell curve. I feel like that's a bit of, you know, like a bit too much, like sweatiness, because again, I feel like this person's coming from a degree where it's like I feel like a lot of the people jumping onto Marathon are people that were really big fans of Arc Raiders, and Marathon was originally supposed to be way more PvP focused, you know, like hey, like you're not friendly with the other players, you're meant to fight them more. And so I feel like a lot of the people that play Arc Raiders are they're the types of people that aren't playing Call of Duty. They're not getting super sweaty, they're not playing, you know, PvP oriented games a lot. So you have these guys that are going from Arc Raiders, very, you know, I don't want to say lighthearted, but lighter, very light on the PvP, more friendly type games, PvP wise, and they jump on Arc Raiders, and you have like, I feel like Marathon is in the situation where you have like a bunch of people that want, you know, more of the PvP experience and are just going to go out there and be like, let's get into fights, let's kill people, it's like just PvP all the time. And then you're going to have that, you know, fraction of people that are from Arc Raiders who are like, yo, I just want to be friendly and like loot and shit. And I'm not a fan of that to an extent, but you know, nothing wrong with that, all the power to them. But you know, I completely, you know, can see, you know, the problem that this causes. And sweaty players just aren't fun in games. I've talked about that before in my other channel, but like I'm not a fan of that either. I'm not a fan of sweaty players. That is exactly why I prefer PvE in extraction shooters more than the PvP elements, because I just don't like the sweatiness of it and losing all my gear and stuff. That's personal. That's very personal, opinionated. I'm not saying every game should be like that. I'm not saying every extraction shooter be like that. But that's just me, and I feel like it would help the game a lot more. to have PvE amounts. But yeah, again, this guy said, I love the game and I want to succeed and I want as many people as possible to enjoy it too. But you need to know that you have to have a pedigree of FPS skills going into this because you will eventually meet your match. And I feel like that is true with the way the game was built. It is very much like you have to have a specific skill set at a certain point in this game or you're going to get dogged on over and over again. You can't just go into this, you know, la-di-da, I'm not really experienced in a lot of, PvP centric areas. But again, yeah, so I just want to talk about this again. Marathon, I hate to say it, but I'm praying on this game's downfall. And you know, if you enjoy the game and you really want it to do better, I'm not hating on you, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm praying on this game's downfall simply because of the company that makes it. Bungie has fucked over the people that have supported them the longest, and I am here to watch them fail because they fucking deserve it. I hate to say it, but they deserve it. I hate to want to have a new game fail and for people to not play it anymore or whatever. But as somebody who played Destiny 2 that put money into the game, just for them to say, fuck you, I don't like them anymore. I'm not a fan of them. And I feel like many people that play Destiny 2 and have experienced the Destiny side of Bungie currently are on that same path of like, fuck you, Bungie. We want you to fail. No hate towards Marathon, but I want this game to fail. No hate towards the players that play it. The game genuinely seems kind of enjoyable. The gunplay seems cool and stuff, but fuck Bungie. That's all I have to say. I'll see you in the next one.